Morning, guys. Good morning to you. First day back after half term. How was it? Did you enjoy it? You may be looking at this thinking, hang on a minute, Mrs. Barnes does the maths. We swapped. We have done a swap. So Mrs. Dyer and Mrs. Barnes are teaching the English this term, and I'm taking on the maths. For our maths this term, we are looking at multiplication to start with. So multiplication and division, and I'm going to try and help you out some tricks and some hints that will help you. Lots of you have got a really good understanding of your multiplication, and I can see that in your 99 clubs, you are absolutely flying with them. So hopefully you can use some of your number facts that you know already to help you out today. All right, let me share my screen with you and let's get started. So in your books, let's try and remember those rules that we really, really good at for half term. We had a clear date and a clear WALT. So your WALT today is to multiply two, that should say digit numbers, by 10 using place value. So we are multiplying by 10. Maybe you know a quick way of doing this already. And if you don't, that's fine, because we are going to work it out today. We've got to understand, though, the reason, okay? If we do know a shortcut, that's great. But actually, let's understand let's go a bit deeper with it and understand what's going on. So if you are in class, you can just discuss and pause the video if you're at home as well. Maybe have a think, what does multiply mean? And again, what happens when we multiply by 10? So let's have a look at this. Now, we're going to start off with a one-digit number. So we're going to start off with the number 7. And we're going to multiply that by 10. So 7 groups of 10, or you might have heard it as 7 repeated 10 times. Okay, so what happens, here we've got our place value grid, hundreds, tens and ones. When we multiply by 10, what would be my answer here? I'd hope lots of you would be able to tell me what 7 tens are already. All right, so or 10 sevens, because I remember I can do it the other way around. Now, I've got 7 here. Okay, now, Colin, very cleverly down here, said, when you multiply a number by 10, it gets 10 times larger. So the digits move one column to the left. Ooh, that's helpful, isn't it? Okay, so let's just try that. So he said, we're going to multiply these 7 by 10. Okay, so we're going to multiply it by 10, so they get 10 times larger. And in our place value grid, they move one column to the left. So I'm just going to pick them all up and I'm going to shift them there. Now, we've got to do something though, because these are no longer ones, are they? What are they? They're in the tens column, so they have to be tens. Now I'm going to quickly put that, turn these into tens. Okay, so each of these ones have been made 10 times larger. They've got bigger by 10. So that means that I'm now on 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So if I was answering the question 7 tens or 10 sevens, I would get the answer 70. Now that's a one-digit number. What happens if it's a two-digit number? Have a look at this question first. You might, if you've got a bit of scrap paper or you want to give it a go first, have a think of what your answer might be. You're now doing 70 times 10. All right, so let's just do that first. Let's put 70 into our place value grid. All right, here we go. 10. I'll try and do it as quickly as I possibly can. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Now, we're going to do exactly the same, all right, as what Colin's telling us to do down here. When you multiply 70, okay, we've got 70 now, by 10, it's going to get 10 times bigger. So each of these are going to get 10 times bigger. So if I did, let's take this first 10 here. If I multiplied that by 10, what are 10 tens? Well, that makes 100. Okay, oh, what are 10 tens again? Well, that's another 100. Okay, what are 10 tens? So all of them are moving one place value column to the left, okay? They're being multiplied by 10. All right, so if you haven't got there already, hopefully you're shouting at me, Mr. Banwell, 70 times 10 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700. So I could say, well, that's 700. All right, should we have another go at doing one of these? So if we're saying that they're moving one place value column to the left, let's see if we can solve this one. Now, I've got some ones in here as well, but I'm going to use that same method again. I've got 74 times 10. So Colin says when you multiply a number by 10, it gets 10 times bigger. All right, so I'm going to pick, oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to put that back and I'm going to lock it. Sorry, guys, lock in place. There we go. Now I'm going to move all of these one place value column to the left because they're all getting 10 times bigger. So they've obviously changed value now. So we've got, these are now 10s. Okay, so 110 is 10. Okay, and that's, I've done that 4 times. Look, there you go. And these, like last time, have now become hundreds. So when we multiply 10 by 10, you get hundreds. All right, so you've got a new answer. And maybe you've started spotting a really quick way of doing this in your answer. So 74 times 10, what's my new answer? Well, I've got 704 tens and 0 ones. So my answer is 740. What do you notice about our answer and what we started with? We started with the number 74, the 2-digit number. And when we multiply by 10, what happens? Hopefully, you're saying to one another and shouting at the screen, well, Mr. Banwell, we just add a 0 on the end. Okay, let's just go back and check our answers and see if that's the case. Well, yeah, 70 times 10, just 70, and you add the 0 on the end. Okay, and I think that was the same way. Yeah, we started with 7. When we multiply by 10, okay, we're just adding a 0. Let's just have a look then at this next one. So if it says down here, Coco has said, if I know that we're starting with 51 and 51, look, I'm just going to cross out the 0. 51 times 1, well, 51 times 1 would be 51, wouldn't it? All right. But it's not 51 times 1, it's 51 times 10. So actually, I'm going to rub that out. Okay, so 51 times 10 is actually, and this is, I'm going to prove it in a second, is 510. Okay, that's what I'm guessing at the moment. Let's have a go to see if I can prove that. Okay, so I've got the numbers here, 10, 20. I've got 51 in my place value grid. Okay, I'm going to multiply all of it by 10. All right, so let's see if that works. So I'm going to move all of my place value counters to the left. All right, whoa, they're spinning around. That's cool. How have we done that? Let's see if I can move them over this time. There we go. So now they're no longer 10s, are they? Because they've multiplied by 10, each of them. And 10 10s are hundreds. So I've made hundreds for each of these. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. And 10 times 1 is 10. So I've got my new answer now. Okay, and I've calculated that 51 tens are 510. So I was right at the start. My guess that I made at the start about just adding a 0 on the end is absolutely correct. Let's see if we can do another. Oh, slightly trickier one now. Okay, I think we've got the concept that actually when we multiply by 10, okay, we can just add a 0 on the end. All right. However, let's see if we can work this one out, because we're going to have to use the inverse this time. All right. we know the answer is 310. So it's something multiplied by 10 equals 310. If you want to pause the video now and have a quick chat about it, if you're in class, or even if you're at home, that's absolutely fine. What would you do to solve this then? All right, if we know that we have been moving all of the numbers over into different columns, if we move them left when we multiply by 10, if we want to find out what we started with, what should we do something in reverse? Okay, and maybe we can find out what we started with. All right, pause the video and have a quick chat about it now, and then I'll go through it. Okay, so let's just have a look at this. And I suggested that, okay, the answer is 310, okay, and that was something that we multiplied by 10 gave us the answer 310. So let's see if we can go back, all right? And instead of moving it left, I'm going to move it all back, right, all right? And see if I can divide all of these. So 100 divided by 10 gives me 10. And again, gives me 10. And it gives me 10. All right, what's 10 shared between 10? Well, 10 shared between 10 people would give me my 1. Okay, so there is my answer. So what was my answer? What was my original number that I started with? Sorry, it's easier. Well, it's obvious I started with 30. Okay, and 31 times 10 will give me the answer 310. Alrighty, I would like you guys to have a go at doing some of these new books. You don't need to draw the place value grids for each of these, okay? Let's start off with 200. I'm going to run through the first one. I'm going to start off with the first one with you. So I'm going to start off with 20 times 10. Let's see if I can put that in there first. Have a go at it first, then I will run through the reason or the answer with you. Okay, so 20 times 10. I'm going to start off with 20. Now I'm going to multiply 20 by 10. All right, so first of all, let's do what Colin has suggested. When you multiply by a number by 10, it gets 10 times larger. So the digits move one column to the left. So I'm multiplying by 10. Here we go. Okay, and now it's 10. So I've multiplied by 10. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. So my answer would be 200. And hopefully you'd have noticed that I'm just adding a 0 on the end of 20 to make 200. It multiplies by 10. Have a go at the others. Don't get caught out by the last one. Think about it. And then if you'd like to, okay, do some more do it questions, I'll put them on here. All right. And so you can pause it here. If you think you're happy and you know what you're doing with this, you can move on to the Go Deep and Go Deeper questions. These are also attached to the daily post. So if you need to log on and click onto the daily post, that's absolutely fine as well. And you can print that off if you have a printer. If not, just copy it straight into your books. I'd love to see some of you having a go at the Go Deeper challenge today. It's a one that is really, you've got to think about it, but it is possible, and it's one that you can definitely do. I am going to skip back before you do that to our misconception. All right, Colin needs some help answering this calculation. Okay, he's been given lots of well, he's been given 4 answers. Let's see if you can work out which one is correct. So Colin needs some help answering the calculation below. 89 times 10. Is it A, 8,900? Is it B, 809? Is it C, 890? Or D, are you completely not sure? All right, pause the video now. You can have a quick chat about it. See if you can use your reasonings, okay? And try and start using the language that Colin has been using. When you multiply a number by 10, it gets 10 times larger. So the digits move one column to the left, all right? If you know that 89 times 1 is 89, well, what is 89 times 10. Okay, and hopefully you've had a discussion now that you know that 89 times 10, you're just adding a 0 on the end of it to make it 890. All right, so do it if you want to do it. If you need any more practice, okay, the go deep and go deeper would be the next step after that. So, and I'd love everyone to have a go at that as well. So good luck. I think you'll be okay with this. Any questions, please ask.